This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. A very familiar verse that many of us have probably heard at the beginning of any given church service or function. But what is the context of this verse? We've heard it so much that we probably just assume that it's talking about the Sabbath day. But if you look to where this verse comes from in Psalm 118, let's go a couple of verses above, starting with verse 21, and let's check out the context of this verse. I thank you. You have answered me and become my salvation. Right there's a key, right there's a clue. You have become my salvation. It's talking about God becoming one's salvation. Verse 22, the plot thickens. We get more clues. The stone the builders despised, or the builders has rejected, has become the cornerstone. Anybody who's even a novice student of Bible prophecy will be familiar with this verse and know that it is referring to Yeshua, the Messiah. The stone the builders have rejected has become the cornerstone. So Yeshua has been called the Word, the Rock, therefore he is the foundation. So verse 23, it says in the Stones Tanakh edition of the Psalms, this emanated from the Lord. Whoa. Okay, you have become my salvation. So salvation is sort of personified in a sense in that verse. Verse 22, the stone that the builders rejected becomes the cornerstone. So this person is foundational. And it says, verse 23, this emanated from Hashem. This came out of the Lord. This came out of God. This came from God. This emanated from God. What is Yeshua? Who is Yeshua? He is the emanation of God. He is God incarnate. And it says, it continues in this verse, it is wonderful or wondrous in our eyes. And then the familiar verse, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So the context of that verse, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. The day is capital T-H-E, the capital D-A-Y, day. It's the day. It's a big day. It's one day. It's an event. It's a momentous event and occasion. And this is talking about the prophesied coming birth of the Messiah. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. It says, I thank you, for you have answered me and become my salvation. You have turned into, you have become, you have morphed into my salvation. Salvation has been personified. It took on bodily form. Verse 22, the stone or the foundation that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. You know, that's the foundation of life and faith and salvation is this person. And verse 23, this salvation, this person emanated from the Lord, came from the Lord, and it is wondrous in our eyes. So it's talking about the coming of the divine Messiah, the birth of the divine Messiah that we know as Jesus Christ, Yeshua the Messiah. And then it says, this is the day, this day that's coming, this day that I'm talking about, this day when God becomes a man, this day when God sends the Redeemer, when God sends salvation, when God sends the Messiah. This is the day that I'm talking about, that the Lord has made. He predestined it. He made it. He already had it in his plan of salvation before even time began because he knew man would fall. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So next time you hear that verse, know that it's speaking of Yeshua the Messiah, who is God incarnate, who is our salvation and our Redeemer. And the day of his coming, his first coming, his birth, and his second coming, is a day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Because when the day of his second coming comes, it will be wondrous in our eyes, as it says in Psalm 118:23. Hey guys, thanks so much for listening. Go out there and have a great day. God bless. AbrahamsDescendants.com, getting back to the first century in a 21st century way. Thanks for watching. Stay connected by subscribing to our other social media accounts and visiting our website at abrahamsdescendants.com.